It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day, I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
It starts with some beer, so you shouldn't have fear. Two garbage guys with facts, but they both still have tact. It's that time at last for the best damn podcast. It's Can Crusher Day!
And welcome to Can Crushers. I'm elated. I have a couple people in studio today, and we're cracking beers. Mine's actually already cracked as it's in the glass. But before we do that, welcome back, Chad. You're here.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
And in studio, the English professor. What brings you to the studio today?
I made the treacherous trip from Pittsburgh to Ridgeway to be in studio today and to have Sunday dinner with my mom.
I thought you were correcting me more, or because I've been pretty bad recently.
Yeah, I do have some English tips later if anyone is interested.
Good.
You're not out of getting homework this week, folks.
Nice. Yeah, but you've taken a little bit off.
Yeah.
So, all right. So my beer, once again, is donated by one of our great friends of the podcast, Justin Placer. Thank you, Justin. This is called Tang Glider. I've never heard of it. It's a fruit sour ale from Levitt Brewing Company, 4.6% alcohol. And there's a nice fruity taste to it. I've already tried it. Do you want to?
May I?
Yeah. There's still something to. If you can drink out of the broken ass can that he gave us.
That is really good. Crisp.
That is good.
It's refreshing. It's not overpowering with the fruit flavor. It's nice. It's very subtle.
The wife
like
didn't
it.
want to try it.
No,
It's a nice girly beer for me, right?
Yeah. You're missing out, Kelly.
And you have a natty light because that's just,
Yeah, why not?
why not?
Yeah. That's really good. Holy moly.
Chad's drinking the hardcore Pepsi. So, guys, there's nothing else that I want to talk about first, and you guys are going to go right down the rabbit hole with me. Last night, changing of an era, something big happened. We literally just got done watching it, and for the NWA to put on a pay-per-view like they put on, my spoiler's out right off the bat. I already can't wait until January 24th for part 2.
I thought it was pretty darn good. I think it was maybe 2.5 hours start to finish. I maybe could have even used another 15 minutes or half hour to the show. There was nothing too fancy about it. Just good matches, some nice twists and surprises. I thought it was very good start to finish.
I like the old school feel of it. Had guys coming down, new twist, guys coming down through the audience versus out from behind a curtain or something like that. Had the announcers right there, not being fed the stuff. They were actually watching the action and calling the action. I just like the old school feel of it.
Yeah, and some of the camera angles, as we're going to do the nerdy stuff first, as we always do. I don't know why. Your brother Dom joined us as well. Mm-hmm. He even pointed out the angle where they're shooting down from like the top of the rafters, the very top of the seats. You know, you see the whole crowd. You can still see the action. There wouldn't be a bad seat in that studio. I don't think. I just love that stuff. You know, everything just took a turn here and there. It was great.
Yeah, I agree. The camera angles were fun, especially from way up top, like you said. I imagined when they took that shot, I imagined, what if I were sitting up there? That would be a pretty cool place to sit and look down on the action.
Yeah, I would have liked to sit there for, Dusty Rhodes beating up Telly Blanchard, right, or to see the Rock and Roll against the Midnight Express.
But this is good, too. I'd go see NWA right now. I would.
Anything pre-take that you want to take before we dive into the matches? We'll start with Chad. Do you want to say anything else about this before we...
The one thing that I liked was the seating, the way the seating was. You didn't have people on the floor, and when they stood up, then you didn't have people that couldn't see. you had the people elevated that way. When everybody stood up for whatever action, everybody could still see. Keeps the crowd, the whole crowd in it versus just the first 2 or 3 rows.
Everything made sense. The storytelling really made sense. There were moments where we were going to guess what happened, and perhaps we guessed wrong. But there were times when, one of you guys said something, and then one of the announcers said the same thing just a couple minutes later, or a few seconds later. So the storytelling was very good. You could follow it. So that's sort of what I took from it, is that the storytelling really made sense.
So let's dive right in, right off the bat. It's Eli Drake against Mr. Anderson.
Can you say that?
Anderson.
Okay. So does the double Anderson then take away from any WWE copyright? Because they've copyrighted everything now. So I wonder, are we allowed to say Mr. Anderson?
Well, he was Mr. Kennedy.
Oh, that's right.
Kennedy.
That's right. Okay.
I'm shocked that he's allowed to be from Wisconsin, because they might have copyrighted that too.
They may have copyrighted Wisconsin. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So what do you have a lot to say about Eli Drake. You're just opening your beer, but you have a lot to say about Eli Drake. Let's get your early pontification out of the way.
I like Eli Drake a lot. He was on an episode, he was on several episodes of NWA Power, but on the one he said that he has been compared to Stone Cold Steve Austin and to The Rock, and now that he mentioned that, I can't unsee it. I agree completely. I would even say like some of his mannerisms with his head and his facial expressions remind me of Stunning Steve Austin.
The Hollywood Blonde?
The Hollywood Blonde, yeah. And some of his body language and mannerism remind me of The Rock. He is a very cool, charismatic guy.
So one of your favorites already in NWA?
I think so, yeah. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's definitely got the voice. Keeps with the audience, keeps them tied in. His mannerisms, he reminds me, when you're talking about Austin, the way Austin 316 had walked down to the ring, like, I'm a badass and there ain't anybody going to stop me. That's the way he seems to act.
He's got a bit of a head shake, too, like a Steve Austin head shake and a Steve Austin point.
That was my thing. I was going to say exactly the same
Sorry.
thing. No, that's all right. Thunder's next after this match.
Okay.
But, yeah, I was going to say the head shake, he does it every once in a while, and he tries an eyebrow. He's not going to get the eyebrow, but he tries an eyebrow or some facial thing or whatever. So what'd you think about the match? I thought it was great. Eli picks up the win. More on that later, teaser, but I thought it was a great match. I mean, we don't have to keep saying it told a great story. We precursored that. This whole card told a great story, right?
Right.
All right. So the match itself, did you like it?
I thought it was pretty good. It flowed really well. It wasn't, no ridiculous spots or anything like that. It just made sense. It was two guys that, don't like each other.
Had a beef with each other.
Had a beef with each other, doing things to somebody that you would do if you were wrestling a guy or fighting a guy. That's what I like, the flow of the match.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was all about going after your opponent and trying to get the win and not doing 5 or 6 outlandish things just to land one move.
Yeah, and they're building something for Eli. I see this. That's my prediction. I mean, clearly they're building something, but I mean, he's going to be a big player in this NWA from here on out. So is it to take on Aldis next? Is it to take on James Storm next? Is it, slide down to the national title? I don't know, but he's going to be a main component in this NWA, and we'll see more on that, as I said, here in a minute.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't want to jump the gun here. I don't think he's going to be in the world title picture just yet, but I think he will be in a title picture here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And don't pump his gas.
What? The crowd loved that. Don't pump my gas. Don't pump my... Why? He's pumping gas for you at Quickfill or Sheetz or Wawa or whatever.
We pulled up. And three of us, and I got out, Mark, and I said, I got this. Would you yell at me? Hey, don't pump my gas?
Cool. I'll run and pay for it. You guys need a drink.
Perfect.
And you're pumping my gas.
I don't see the problem.
Chad's nothing. Next matchup is Thunder Rosa against Tasha Steelz. Guys, you've heard me talk about Thunder Rosa for weeks. We reached out to Thunder Rosa, still talking about some stuff. I love Thunder Rosa. But this week, when they announced Sasha Steelz coming to NWA, after what we saw at WrestleCade, marked out. I was happy. I was excited. I was elated. There's something about Tasha Steele that I think she's got a little bit of the it.
You guys know more about it than I do, so what? Please go ahead.
Her charisma, she plays to the crowd. She knows how to, again, keep everybody involved in the match. She doesn't do outlandish, stupid stuff. She's very physical, which with a lot of the female wrestlers and that, you don't get that until they get to a spot.
That's a good point.
She is just physical. It's just, smash mouth in your face is how she wrestles.
And Rosa's somebody that can take those physicality bumps. That's probably not correct, but physicality bumps like that, because she's a legit badass. Not stealing anything from Sasha, but she's a legit badass, Thunder Rosa is.
Yeah, you had posted that story, too, on our Facebook page, Mark. And I watched that bit of a documentary. She's an MMA fighter. She is tough. And it's cool to see her bring some of that to the ring, but still it's a pro wrestling match. It's not an MMA fight. One spot I liked is where she hung her opponent up in the Tree of Woe. And before she did anything, she turned around and sort of did like she was wiping her feet kind of thing in the direction of Steele's head. Pretty heelish thing to do. It was pretty funny. One thing I noticed was the NWA fans have their own brains and their own minds, and they don't care what you're feeding them. They're going to take what they want from it. They were almost all Thunder Rosa fans.
They were.
She couldn't do anything that made the fans hate her. They were
Nothing wrong. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. Yeah. Well, she's been on for a couple weeks now. Some of them might not know who Tasha Steele is. She's been riding the indies for a while. The WrestleCade is probably a huge thing for Queens of Combat, and that's now out on High Spots. Give them a little bit of a shout out. And it's out. The one spot that I did record is out now on our Twitter. You can go back and watch her and Kira go at it. That they've retweeted a dozen times now. So, yeah, Tasha's going to be out there. Tasha's going to be seen a lot more.
I like the fact that they kept going back to a certain thing. I talked about this last week. The invention of the DDT by accident because they were working the front face lock for so long during the match. Thunder Rosa was going for that double stomp at least once, maybe twice, and didn't get it. But that's her move. You used to see Jake grab the DDT and maybe the guy slipped out and slid out 2-3 times. But that was his game plan, and eventually he would hit it. Thunder Rosa had her game plan, didn't let anybody make her deviate from that game plan. And in the end, she hit the double foot stomp off the ropes onto Steele's back, and that was that.
Yeah. Great match.
Very good. Very, very good.
Next match was the match before Tasha coming to NWA that I was excited for. Question mark against Trevor Murdoch. And the pomp and...
Okay.
You didn't even say it right there. The A is much longer. Yeah. You got one thing to do in that intro, Chad. For the pomp and circumstances of the entrance now of... Question mark.
Yeah.
We've seen the flag.
Yeah.
And where our next trip is going to be for wrestling.
And we heard the Mongrovian national anthem now.
It's a beautiful song. It really is.
Much better than Whitney Houston anthem at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
In your military, to say that is unbelievable.
That tells you
wow!
That tells you the depth of passion in that national anthem.
It's unbelievable.
The flag was beautiful.
Yeah. It would make Nikolai Volkov proud.
Yeah.
It definitely would. So, real fast, we're going to fast forward. During the TV tapings now that are taking place today and tomorrow, they have to be hanging that Mongrovian flag up because it has not been hanging in, I want to say TBS studios, but it's not TBS studios, but you know what I mean, the NWA studios. That damn well better be there the next tapings or, he could boycott.
Well, it could be the beginnings of an international war.
Yeah.
If we don't hang it up.
I agree. Yeah. you're going to represent the world, then, you have all those flags. You have to represent Monrovia and the ostrich and question mark on the flag.
Yeah, and they even brought in a Mongrovian pine tree, spruce tree.
For the Christmas tree.
For the Christmas tree.
Do they celebrate Christmas in Monrovia? They have to.
I think, yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So what'd you guys think of the match?
I thought Trevor Murdoch was going to win. I said that question mark is so over, he doesn't need the win. Turns out I was wrong about that. There were more shenanigans, and he hit.
You sucked guessing this.
I don't think I guessed anything right. Good match. He hit his
double
hook'em horns thing, whatever.
Karate.
That's what that is. Okay, yeah.
Hopefully avoiding that international incident after Murdoch threw that gorgeous flag on the ground.
I know.
Knocked it to the ground.
Yeah, that was disrespectful.
We need to reach out to Corrigan and Lagana and say, come on, we're going to do this right. We're going to do it right.
Yeah.
He needs his just due.
Start a petition on change.org,
Yeah, they start him for anything anymore, for the love of Christ. They start him for anything.
I like the chain wrestling, the reversals. There was a drop toe hold in there that was very nice. One thing we haven't seen in a while is someone trying to tear the mask off, and that's what Trevor Murdoch did. You've seen it on WWE with the 619. What's his name? Rey Mysterio is one of my favorites. I can't believe I couldn't think of his name. Getting his mask ripped off, and that actually made me gasp when that happened because his mask got.
It's been off before. Do we need to go down
I know, but it's still it's.
I'd be more mad if it was taken off of Sin Cara that's not there anymore anyway, but nonetheless.
But seeing Trevor Murdoch try to tear off question mark's mask, not like ripping it at the eyes, but old school going under the chin and trying to pull it off.
That's like Mongrovian heritage to wear a mask during matches.
Yeah. But it was reminiscent of like Andre the Giant or Hulk Hogan trying to pull the Masked Superstar's mask off.
Or the Super Machine.
Or the Super Machine, yeah.
Great match.
Yeah.
Question mark wins with some help. Next up is the Rock and Roll Express, and they're coming out with Homicide and Kingston, which, all right. And then the wild card comes out with the Dawson brothers, which you've heard me. I'm a Dawson. I'm on Dawson's Creek. I'm up Dawson's, whatever. I love the Dawsons. Chad, start with this.
The one thing that I didn't like was Rock and Roll Express is baby faces coming out with somebody first.
Good point, yeah.
I think they should have let the bad guys come out with their guys and be like, okay, two can play at this game, and then bring their guys out. I think that kind of...
And they call the Mulkeys out, not Homicide and...
Yeah, it just looks...
in Kingston.
And it's just like seeing Jim Cornette in the ring with the Rock and Roll Express. It's like, some things are sacred that you just should never see.
Right.
Unless he's hitting them with a tennis racket or something.
I can't believe what these guys can still do. Mid-60s. And
we can't move like that in 45 and 50. You're up. I'm just rounding. Well, I'm rounding.
No, we certainly cannot. I can't believe what they can do. They're amazing athletes. This match was better than the match on TV where they won the belts, which it ought to be. It's a pay-per-view. I thought when I saw the match on TV and they won the belts, and I thought, this was a good match. They don't have a whole lot left in the tank. They can still go. This was worlds better than the match they had on TV. I like little things like the officiating made sense. There was a point where he didn't see the tag.
It was Rodney King. Or Raymond King. Not Rodney King.
Rodney King.
No.
What? He didn't see a tag between the wild cards.
Rodney probably didn't see it either.
Right. But then, Mark, you and I noticed that the Rock and Roll Express broke 3 different rules on their tag.
One tag,
they broke 3 rules, and the referee allowed it. They didn't tag over the top rope. They tagged through the ropes with a foot already on the inside, and Robert Gibson was not holding the tag rope.
Right.
3 rules broken. They let that go. I don't know. Maybe a little favoritism towards the legends, maybe.
Oh, without a doubt. So Rock and Roll wins, keeps the titles, which this actually surprised me. I thought, all right, they got their shine. Wild Card's going to win it back. LAX or whatever we're going to call them, Kingston and her Homicide are going to get involved. That's going to start a feud. or the Dawsons are going to turn on them and they're going to start. But no, the Rock and Roll Express keeps the title on their first ever pay-per-view. Where do we go? Like, nothing happened to the Rock and Roll Express after the match. Everybody else fought,
Right.
but nothing happened to the Rock and Roll Express.
I think it sets them up with who was Homicide and
Kingston.
I think it sets them up. Hey, they're going to have a good friendly match with them, and then they just turn on them and beat the piss out of them, lay them out, and take the titles. I think that's the most likely direction.
That makes sense.
I'm okay with just a title match for the sake of a title match sometimes. And you may
What?
Yeah.
What? Blasphemy.
Yeah, just have a title match because somebody's a top contender or the former champions against the new champs. And it may very well go where you said, Chad, but I was okay with it ending just how it ended. And speaking of how it ended, the double drop kick wins the belt or defends the championship.
Right?
They could have won with the double drop kick.
They could have won with the Canadian Destroyer that Ricky did again.
Right. Yep. But they defended with the double drop kick. So 35 years later, that move is still putting guys away.
Bro, I don't know how they're doing it.
I don't know, man.
So they announced right after this that their next pay-per-view is January 24th. And I looked at both of you saying, guys, that's a Friday night. That's kind of a little weird. But, they're changing the culture. That's fine. It good. That's something I can do in January on a Friday night now is watch pay-per-view because it's cold, it's miserable, and I don't leave the house from January to March.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Just remember, a lot of their tapings, when they had their main matches and title matches for the weekend, were on a Friday show. It was a Friday afternoon back then. It was the second show. I believe they used to have them in Atlanta. But that's when they usually had their title matches for the hour program that was on Saturday morning from 11 to 12. That's where they usually taped it. So maybe they're kind of going back to the territory days a little bit and taping in
the three of us
everywhere.
at this table right now would go nuts if they would go back to the territory days. But the big announcement is my favorite title in the world of titles is coming back. The TV freaking title is back. It's going to be decided there. We're all putting our heads together. Is there going to be a tournament over the next 6 weeks? I think it's 6 weeks from now that will happen. 4 or 5 people. 4 or 5 people. How are you going to have 5 people in a tournament, Mark? 8 people in a tournament, whatever. John's just smiling at me like I'm a jackass. So it'll culminate January 24th.
I agree.
And this is where I'm going to say this is Eli Drake's title. I stole it because you stole something.
I stole from you. You stole from me.
This is Eli Drake's title in the making. To have him on TV every week, in and out. Chad's giving me the dirty eye, but I think it makes sense for now. You can keep him. He's somebody that everybody wants to see all the time. National title's not going to be on TV all the time. Aldous definitely, maybe in a spot. Let me talk about this, that, or the other. But Drake is hot.
I think it's going to be a free agent coming in. I don't think it's going to be anybody that they have in right now.
But they're taping for it right now.
But
yeah, we don't know.
And we will see at the end of what we're talking here, somebody that shows up. Is it a tie-in? Is it him or is it somebody else that's going to become a free agent in the next 2 weeks? We don't know when. What they're going to do with it.
I posted something from ROH earlier this week of the free agents. Joey Mercury released, 7 people that are going to be free, and they're not going to re-sign them. They blatantly said, we're not re-signing them. And the one that I always bring around is Shane Taylor. We've all seen him at IWC in Pittsburgh. We've seen him on ROH. I think he fits in NWA great. I think he's a big man. He can move. You can use him destructively against anybody in there. I'd love to see Shane Taylor in NWA. That's me.
I'm with you on Eli Drake. I can still remember Arn Anderson saying this belt means there'll be a title match on TV every week. I don't know if they're going to go that route, but if you're going to give somebody airtime every week on NWA, Eli Drake's got the personality and charisma to pull that ship, steer that ship. I don't know what you do on a ship, but
you steer well.
I guess you don't drive.
You pull it sometimes to get it out of the land.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you
steer.
Then you steer it.
Then you steer it.
Once you're in, that you steer. You have to get
right.
pulled. A tug has to pull you a
So
little bit.
what he's going to pull it, jump in, steer it. That's how good he is.
Can you walk up from the back of the tug on the rope that's pulling
Throw
it?
the rope. No, just throw the rope and then jump onto the rope.
Swing.
That's what he's going to do.
Like Indiana Jones.
That's what he's going to do.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
We're staying with Drake because he actually ends up getting his ass beat by Mr. Anderson. And Chad, I'm going to go right to you first because there's a spot that you're like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And it's the chair spot. Go.
Yeah, he opened the chair up, stuck Eli Drake's head in the chair, and then rammed him straight into the ring post. And I'm always
Something can go wrong with that.
With a neck injury, that's just something I don't like seeing messed with. I mean, I can remember the Rock and Roll Express doing in Midnight Express doing the tennis racket underneath the throat.
Yeah.
That they could kind of pass off a lot easier. This, you're talking about a chair and he can't get his hands up, so he's taking some sort of shot to the throat, which again, that's just to me.
And as we'll see in the main event, when you go to ram somebody's head into something, it may very well ram into that something.
Yeah.
More on that later, as Mark would say.
We didn't touch on what Thunder Rosa actually did. She won the match against Tasha Steele.
Right. With the double foot stomp.
But then Ashley Vox came out because Thunder was going to continue to beat on Rosa. Ashley Vox came running out, and she got in an armbar. And this is where you cringed.
Oh, it was disgusting. She had her knee and her elbow and was cranking on her arm, on her wrist, and then like made a snapping motion, with her arm. It just was pretty disgusting to look at, which is why she wasn't in the match.
Right.
And we had to have a replacement.
So it leads to Allison Kay against Marty Bell and Melina, but then all of a sudden, Allison gets a partner, and it's ODB.
To a thunderous ovation from the fans. She come down. She had the fans with her, flaunting her personal flotation devices.
And everything else below the Southern border.
Everything else. Quite a pairing there. An odd couple.
We're talking about the wrestlers.
Yes, I'm sorry. Allison Kay and ODB, not ODB's flotation devices.
I'm going to be the old crank here for a minute. I think it's a little bit too much for NWA. NWA doesn't go down those lines. And I'm looking at the old NWA, and I'm thinking, they're going to throw some of that in. But this is her first pay-per-view, and she's like, this is my crotch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, too, the NWA wasn't, no saint with stuff like that. They had Ronnie Garvin in a dress and wig before.
We wore dress and wigs in high school.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. And they had Jim Cornette and dress and wigs and high heels. Not quite ODB level, but they weren't quite innocent with that.
Tully Blanchard out and out said when he brought out Baby Doll, he's like, check out Baby Doll's cleavage this week. That's what he said. Pointed right at it. So,
all right, I'm just, the cleavage doesn't bother me. The flotation device, whatever, great. She just lifted her skirt. This is my business.
Yeah. And she kept grabbing her breasts over and over. Like, we get it. You know what I mean?
They're big.
Yeah.
We see them.
Yeah.
Of the matches, then, this is the one that I'll give you my rating. I didn't really care much about then after all. Nothing against ODB or Allison or any. This was a match that I'm like, all right, I'm going to check on the wife and the kids and get another beer or do whatever.
We have met Marty Bell. She's a sweetheart. She talked to my daughter for a while. Very, very nice person. When Allison Kay and Marty Bell were in the ring together, wasn't loving the match. When Allison Kay was in there with Melina, I enjoyed it. And when ODB was doing her gimmicky type of stuff, I enjoyed that. So maybe the common denominator in all of this of what I didn't like, unfortunately, is Marty Bell. I think she's had some good matches. Definitely think she maybe needs to work on some things. I'm a big Allison Kay fan. I've been watching her and enjoying her work. But I started to think about what didn't I like about this match. Unfortunately for me, it was more so when Marty Bell was in there.
I'm kind of with Mark on it. This was kind of a match of, to me, it was kind of a come-down match, a break match. It reminded me, unfortunately, of the match at the Crockett Cup where Allison Kay was in. It was just kind of a come-down before they start spiking up.
The downfall of that is it was a great match. It was just I don't want to say the bad match of the night, because you had the tournament, you had Aldis and Skrull, you had Cabana and Willie Mack. I mean, it was a stacked card. Nothing against Allison and Santana Garrett during that match. You can tell that she was going to fight Jazz, right?
She was supposed to.
Yeah,
yes.
she was going to fight Jazz, and Jazz backed out like last minute, and you can tell that, Garrett got thrown in going back, and we talked about it on the Crockett Cup. It wasn't a bad match, but it just wasn't at par with the rest of them.
Yeah, if you were to absolutely say, hey, we got to rank these matches, it's not that it's the worst match. It was
by
just
default.
By default, it was the least of the best.
Right. Yeah. And was this the match that they came back from break and had this match? Is that correct? Like after they told us about the television title?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Traditionally,
You just saw
that's
Anderson
like
beat down Drake.
Yeah. So that's usually the rebuild match on any card, not just a pay-per-view, but,
Popcorn match.
The popcorn, what Honky Tonk Man called a popcorn match. That's right, yeah.
K and ODB win. Said and done.
I was surprised by that.
I was actually too. As much as they're building up this this group of women, I thought something was going to happen. Then you come to the national championship match. Ricky Starks, Colt Cabana, and Aaron Stevens. Colt's great sometimes. Ricky Starks is a star in the making. Aaron Stevens just has it. From when he came out to the end of the match, he had the crowd in his hand. And you can tell that he's polished. Nothing against Colt, nothing against Stevens. He's just polished. He's been through the real ringer of wrestling.
I like, I'm a big Colt Cabana fan. He's grown on me a lot. I think the name Boom Boom is just appropriate.
Jen Brendel.
Oh my God. It's just it's a throwback kind of a name, like Bam Bam Gordy. It's an NWA style name. There's nothing really flashy about him. He wears his jacket, has a headband, speaks well, works well. I like him a lot. I think as good as Aaron Stevens is, there's potential for him. He's living my best life.
Oh my God.
Professional wrestler, kind of snooty, Shakespearean actor. There's more he can do. He can play that up even more than he already is. I think if he would inject some English lessons into his character, it would really fine-tune who he's supposed to be.
I hate him now. Both John and Aaron Stevens. Chad's done. What'd you think of the match, Chad?
I thought it was, well put together. There's only so much you can do. They kind of played to each of the guys' strengths a bit. I'm not a fan of three-way matches because some screwery, yes, I know that's not right, has to take place.
Somebody else is going to get punished.
Has to take place for somebody to win. And just like a good clean match. But, it wasn't a bad match at all. They did their things, and, the right guy won, in my opinion.
I agree the right guy won. John?
Yeah. This was my favorite match of the night. I liked that Cabana and Starks didn't have to get into a situation where maybe one of them pinned Stevens and the other one pulled him off. Oh, hey, what's your problem? Going in, this is a three-way match. You're going to have to fight each other. So when the opportunity presented itself, they fought each other. I agree with Chad. Three-way matches, four-way matches, six-way matches, they are not my favorite by any means. I don't enjoy them. You're just never going to see one guy out and out and win because he beat the crap out of the other two guys and
wait, we just saw that in a War Games match where Rhea Ripley destroyed everybody.
All right. Well,
but she's hot, though.
But I'm talking like a three-way.
I'm just saying.
I guess it was a three-way match, too. I guess you're right. You are absolutely correct. Yeah, she did kind of beat everybody's ass in that match. But, yeah, I'm not a fan of these types of matches. That being said, this was my favorite match of the night because I think they did it the right way.
They did do it right away. And we have a new national champion, Aaron Stevens, with the help of question mark. Again, thrown right into the mix. Guys, question mark was a joke coming into NWA. Yeah. It's out there. He was a joke. He was going to be a filler. He just got over. And they don't, the crowd will not let it go.
Yeah. That's what
I'm saying. What are you laughing at?
No, it's true. It's what I'm saying. The crowd doesn't care. They're going to like what they like. They're not going to allow a promotion to force something down their throats.
Right with John, I was just getting ready to say with what he's saying, it's like the WWE. No, they're gonna mute if somebody's cheering real hard for somebody that they don't want cheered. You know, they're gonna tone it down, the production and everything like that. That's what I like about here. They're letting the fans cheer for who they want.
Yeah, and we see
they're not favoring anybody specific. You know, you don't have somebody kissing somebody's ass. You know, oh, you've been champion for blah 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 blah, and you know, sucking up to them. No, this is old school. This is come out, say your spiel, get your ass in the ring.
And we see the production team isn't doing much editing on TV taping, so we don't have to worry about that.
We glossed over the fact that Aaron Stevens has already earned his 3rd-degree black belt in karate.
He did. He came out during question mark's match in gi. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
I don't want you and Jimmy Nuts mad at me. In gi with his 3rd-degree black belt.
Unbelievable.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Suck on that, Jimmy Nuts.
I know.
God, I'm going to pay for that. All right, so again, we said Stevens wins. Moving on to the main event. My prediction was, okay, it's Aldous against James Storm. My prediction was that they're both going to win a match, and then Old Man Storm's going to be the referee, get knocked out, and then what happens is going to happen. I was that close.
Yeah.
Hebner actually is the 3rd official in the main event.
Right.
He gets knocked out. Storm comes in and has to do something. So, John brought this up. They had 3 matches in
25 minutes.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was nonstop.
Yeah.
It was great. Who wants to go first?
I guessed exactly wrong every step of the way. I thought each guy would win not with his chosen referee. So I thought, you know, with Hebner in the ring, that Aldous would win, and then with Storm in the ring, that
Storm would win.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that didn't happen. They won with their chosen referees. I didn't see the 3rd fall happening the way it did. I thought it was a nice twist. It adds suspense. It adds a big what if. You know, Hebner took a vicious clothesline, landed on his neck and shoulders, and was out.
He still might be out.
He might, yeah.
He was not up at the end of the taping.
He was conscious long enough to tell Storm, like, you need to take over. Yeah.
I thought I was kind of along the lines with John. I will preface by saying that I watched the Cheaters last night.
Dick. He comes walking in today and he's like, I saw you posted something. I'm like, I scheduled that weeks ago. So I knew not to get on social media today.
And I didn't tell him anything. I just said, did you see the Cheaters? No. Okay, I'm going to shut my mouth. But
so you shut up for 2.5 hours, which is amazing.
Yeah. The wife would be proud of that. I kind of thought with John going into it that they were going to flip-flop the referees, you know, who's going to win. I thought Aldous was going to win. Overall. Wasn't quite sure how they were going to take it. But the one thing I like about it is the way they did the first fall. Quick, like 5 minutes, but it made sense. They had James Storm say, I have something else for you, bitch. And out of the curtain walks Camille to distract Aldous. Aldous turns around, eats a super kick, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Played into the whole match.
That was huge.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that Camille still got, as much as she was told, stay home, stay in the kitchen, do whatever, she still made her...
Make a sandwich.
Make a sandwich, barefoot and pregnant. I mean, come on, all right. We don't mean that. But she still made her appearance. And she should have made an appearance on the first NWA thing. Because she is a huge role of the whole Aldous thing. From back in the day until now. So let's get to the third part. Hebner gets knocked out. Storm in. the turnbuckle comes ripping off because Aldis was holding onto it so tight, and Storm pulled him back so hard he ripped everything off.
Yeah, he went a little George Steele on it, like he had his teeth on it or something. And then he got victory rolled, but held on to the turnbuckle, kicked out of the victory roll. James Storm went flying into the turnbuckle. This is what we mentioned earlier. When you ram somebody's head into something, you may well ram their head into it. He hit the exposed steel, and you see later after the match, he's got a lump with a cut over it. So, you know, it seems like he took that, that steel right
Yeah,
on the forehead.
he took a stumble step and hit head first, no catching with arms, hands, anything like that. Yeah, he took that straight right above the eye.
Aldis ends up winning the match with a roll-up then. No, he got knocked out and he got him into the
Texas Cloverleaf.
Yeah.
And he didn't quit.
He couldn't answer the call.
He couldn't answer the call, and the referee Storm made a decision and stopped the match.
Everybody and their brother came to help Storm out. You know, you think pay-per-view is over. Aldis always talks after his matches, so we're like, okay, he goes out, talks to Marquez, and then we haven't been excited, but now we're excited. Out of the crowd comes Marty freaking Scurll. Chad and I saw this match. We keep saying the Crockett Cup, but guys, we saw this match live at the Crockett Cup. Chad said one of the best 5 matches ever in his life
I've ever seen.
This is match of the year for me, you know, by far. I'm not sure if it's getting the love that it is giving, but the match of the year for me was this match. It's un-effing believable. And if this is what they're building towards, I'm on board that this should be the next pay-per-view match. You think, Chad, all of a sudden Marty's going to the TV title? No way.
No, I don't. I said a free agent. I'm just saying, I just don't think. I think they're going to build Marty and Aldis down or for a little bit. I don't think it's going to be the next pay-per-view. I think it'll be the one after that because there is too much controversy with this match with Storm. So here's a nice way to have Marty Scurll as the referee.
Look at you.
With Storm and Aldis, let's say in a cage maybe, or something like that, and then Scurll screws Aldis some way, maybe for the title, maybe Scurll screws Storm, maybe he lays both of them out and walks out, and there's no decision.
And this is why we love wrestling.
Yeah. It's the what ifs.
This is why we love wrestling. All right, so let's get to our rankings because we have a lot more of this show to do. It's going to be a long show if you're just listening for me to say this now. It's going to be a longer show because we have a lot to cover. On a 6-pack, Chad, what do you grade this on a 6-pack?
4.
I agree. 4.
I'm going 4.5. I really liked it. I am the mark of marks. I continue to love the old school stuff. I just thought it was that much better. It really was. Now we have not watched TLC. We're barely going to watch TLC. What do you think the difference is? Let's say 4.5 because I'm the host. So let's say we've given this a 4.5. All right, math skills are not our forte, so we've given this a 4.5. Before watching TLC, what are you giving TLC?
A 3 if it's lucky.
Yeah, same here. I really am not sure what's going on the pay-per-view tonight, what the matches are, to be perfectly honest. Not been interested in a whole lot of WWE. I think it'll earn a 3 if it can show us some of those holy crap moments.
And that's what they bank on.
That's what they bank on. You're absolutely right. That's their bread and butter.
It's not because of the matches.
Yeah.
It's somebody's going to get off of a ladder, off of this, off of that. So, yeah.
TLC is just it's their last pay-per-view. It really never, hardly ever ties into anything. It's just I hate to say it with WWE because I hate them so much, but it's a glorified house show. And I think that's what it's going to be. And I want to say with the NWA, I hate WWE so much. I don't want to say, oh my God, the NWA was 5 stars or 5 of 6 stars. I want to see what they continue to do.
Oh, without a doubt.
This was their first big shot. Let's see what they continue to do. What are they going to tweak? There are some issues that they can tweak. There are some different things. Where are they going to go with the production? You know, are they going to go into a small arena like Concord and have it something
like
a little bit like that? Let's see where they go. But for a first effort, very, very solid show. Let's just see where they go from that.
Most of the matches were very good. Honestly, nothing was great. And
no, I agree.
That's great is a high standard. I don't like to use that word. None of it was great, and they can still strive for that.
Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from our great friend Al Snow about collar and elbow. I'm repping the Al Snow Macho Man shirt today. I love it. We talk about how comfortable these shirts are, and when we come back, we're going to dive right into some old school breaking news, huh?
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Jack Pollock, the IWC Hardcore Icon. You're listening to King Crushers Podcast. If I like it, you should too.
And now it's time for one of our hot subjects, the new news with Gary Gnu's. Chad, what's in the news? It's not the news. What's the news?
The news. In the news today, this is a bit of an...
It's history news.
This is a bit of an anniversary today. Something was a key turning point, one of the biggest things in Crockett Cup. This day, in 1986, Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff, who was the U.S. champion at the time, beat Ric Flair, who was the world champion, and Arn Anderson in a steel cage. What is significant about this match is this was Nikita's turn match after Magnum TA's car accident. This was his first full match as a babyface.
Wow.
With the U.S. title.
Today, December 15th.
Today.
1987. Wow.
This was reported on the Crockett Cup Foundation website.
Wow. And that we saw what happened with Nikita from there.
Yeah.
You know, unbelievable stuff with Nikita.
Yeah. Huge feud with Lex Luger, which was probably, honestly, Lex Luger's best work.
Not Lex Express?
No.
Oh.
Not Lex Express, not Hip Toss and Yokozuna.
The Narcissist?
No, still no.
Nothing.
Yep. Yeah, we're still going to go. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay. Second one, we're going to dive back a little bit in time to Louisville, Kentucky.
Wait a minute. It's Louisville.
To Louisville, Kentucky, in the Courier-Journal, 1965. Johnny Valentine was arrested after a match with Gene Kiniski. He was arrested for being drunk in public, disorderly conduct, and assault and battery. Now, what's odd about this match is that this was a legitimate arrest because a fan who didn't like Valentine complained to the cops that Valentine reeked of alcohol. And the cop checked Valentine after the match and arrested him. Now, what this led to was quite a bit of changing in the territory in that day. Was Valentine, he was arrested, charged, went to court. He was fined $300. Okay, not that big of a deal, but you got to remember 1965, what was
$300? That's a ton of money back then.
And he was banned from wrestling in Kentucky for a year. Kind of something hard for him to do, considering he owned half of the territory in Kentucky. So basically what it led to is Valentine getting pissed off, selling his portion of the territory to Bruiser Bob Brown, and never wrestling in Louisville again.
Yeah, real quick, I know this. Kentucky's one of the places that you need a license to wrestle. It's not... So there's many states that you show up, you can wrestle. Kentucky, working with OVW, you need a license to wrestle in Kentucky, and he probably had that taken away from him. His wrestling license.
Yep, that's what the 1-year ban was for. He couldn't promote.
Good thing he never came on the podcast. We'd be having him drunk all the time.
No, it's true. Prick, you made me lose it. Third one, Arn Anderson's 4 television titles. The most reigns of any TV champion. What's significant about his TV titles were that they were all won in the same week of January on the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th. It's the only person with a title reign of 3 title reigns or more that they've won 4 of them in the same week.
I heard this earlier this week somewhere.
And a side note on this, his last TV title reign was where he beat the Great Muta. When Muta found out about this match and that he was going to do the job, so to speak, he wasn't real happy. He's kind of pissy about it, didn't want to do it. And he worked really stiff in the match. And Arn suffered his first neck injury in this match, which was a precursor to why he had to retire at the young age that he did.
Wow. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah. He's diving into the subject.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. I looked it up. The $300 is about $2,500 today. Is what Johnny Valentine paid.
And Johnny Valentine, sorry, I forgot, recognized last name, Hall of Famer Greg the Hammer Valentine's father.
Yeah, good job. Greg hanging on the old studio wall. All right, let's get into great news again.
Stuff,
yeah,
Chad.
great news again.
Stuff.
I love this segment because I don't know what you're going to bring each week, and I learned something, except for the Arn Anderson. I did hear that earlier somewhere this week. I don't know where. Let's jump into our Wednesday Night Wars, as we normally do around this time. I didn't watch NXT, so it's going to be all Chad. John, did you watch NXT?
I did not. I'm really enjoying AEW.
Let's talk AEW first.
Okay.
You all right? You can have all NXT.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, there's not much with NXT to go on. Dakota Kai and the one that
Tegan
got
Knox?
hurt. No, the one that got hurt in the...
Oh, Kim.
They had a match. They had a pretty bad spot that ended up leaving Dakota Kai ripped open and some stitches. She took
I
a
really
pretty
like
nasty
Dakota
shot.
Kai. I really like her.
Yeah, they kind of beat the hell out of each other. It was a another good physical match. And then the main event was Keith Lee, Alistair
Black.
Not Alistair Black. The other guy that's Ciampa.
Oh.
Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Balor, the winner of that, to face Adam Cole this week.
Baby!
For the NXT title. Again, not a huge fan of three-way match. They did a pretty good job. Keith Lee, predictably, unfortunately, took the fall in the match.
So Finn's now going to face...
Going to face Adam Cole this week. That was
I'm all right with
NXT
that.
in a nutshell.
I'll probably record NXT this week again. I said it for the last 3 weeks. I have to watch AEW live because you're either going to see something awesome or you're going to see a train wreck, and you can't go by a train wreck without watching it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Something's going to happen. You just don't know which side of the coin it's going to be on.
Is NXT available immediately on the network, or is it like Raw and Smackdown? We have to wait a month or two before it's on the network.
Well, I have this thing called DVR. That I can DVR it.
Well, what if I want
we'll get to that when we talk about Raw and SmackDown.
But what if I want to watch it on the network? How soon can you watch NXT on the network? Does anybody know?
I can just verify for the next morning. I've watched it later the next morning.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about later that night or when it becomes available.
He's not up pat. He could not watch 4 shows.
So you'll be good, John. You know, when you go to bed at 7 o'clock at night, and you'll be good to watch it the next morning
when you at work.
Okay.
You're on the network.
On the net. All right. Yeah, I do want to catch up because that pay-per-view was amazing.
That's the last thing you saw, isn't it?
That is the last thing. And he reminded me of Dakota Kai, and I'm thinking about what she did. I really want to start watching NXT again. But like you say, Mark, you can't take your eyes off of AEW.
No.
And they do that during the whole commercial break, and they make you not want to change the channel.
And that's the thing. Do you think they're going to do something huge in the picture-in-picture ever? I've never seen anything big happen in the picture-in-picture, but you're still there. You can watch Liberty Insurance or Hulu commercials or Captain Crunch or whatever freaking commercials. I haven't seen a Captain Crunch commercial in a while, but whatever commercials are going, you still have that little tidbit that, like, maybe I don't want to go to the bathroom.
That's it. Yeah.
Because at one point in the night, they do take a full-fledged commercial break.
Right.
But it's after something massive has happened, and they have to clean the carnage out of the ring.
Right. They don't want you to change the channel. You're never going to see anything terribly important in the little split screen or whatever you want to call
What I
it.
just said.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you because
okay.
you kind of asked the question.
I'd be curious if they started doing that split screen picture-in-picture thing to keep people from switching at commercials to the other one. What is the other show doing it? I've never seen it. I don't know. Are they keeping you, hey, let's keep them on the action here so they don't, commercial flip to the other show?
And it's times it's just Jericho walking around the outside with his bottle of bubbly. And I'm like, well, I could check. But, side note, before we get to everything, did you see that the war ratings were actually tied this week? Like, they were both down.
Yeah.
We're going to both say they were both down. So it was 778,000 across the board. How? Why? Whatever. Give somebody the win.
You got to look at the dynamics that they're hitting.
I know.
AEW's hitting
I'm a shit
with the
stirrer,
younger
Chad.
crowd. I understand that. If you look at the age group that they hit, they both increased in their target age group. AEW's going for the younger crowd. Their ratings were up in that age group. The middle boomers or whatever the hell it's called this week. That was down for AEW.
So what are you talking about? Oh, we're Gen X.
Oh, whatever.
You're a boomer, I think.
Oh, Jesus, you're not that much
My
older.
mom's a boomer.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so it starts with Moxley against, and he destroys him. That's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, Moxley comes out and gets a quick win. I like Moxley. He's different than he was in WWE. There's something kind of just sadistic about him. He cranks his neck and moves his shoulders around like something hurts.
It's taken him the last 3 to 4 weeks for me actually to say that's not Dean Ambrose.
Fair enough.
That's how long it's taken, because until the crank of the neck or whatever, yes, I agree. He is not Dean Ambrose anymore. But it's taken, out of the 11 weeks they've been on, it's taken 8 of them to build a character that he is.
Yeah, I agree.
And belated happy birthday to Dean Ambrose, who celebrated a birthday earlier this week.
Yeah, happy birthday. Next we have the Butcher, the Blade, and the Candlestick Maker against Cody and...
That's the bunny.
Q-Tip. I love the bunny. Don't get me wrong.
I'd like to love the bunny.
I love the bunny. She was off when I talked to her at WrestleCade, but I still love her. Where are we going? This was probably Cody's worst match in forever.
In character or legitimately one of his worst matches?
Storyline.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think that's the point. He lost another match. This guy's fallen so far from grace. It's cool that he doesn't have to win every single
I'm
week.
all right with it.
Yeah.
But have a partner that... Not that he's going to turn out. He's not going to get the Mulkeys or T.J. Khan or Pistol Pez Watley to be his freaking partner. He's the goddamn owner of the company. Say you're wrestling with me. NWA all out this week, by the way. Say that you're my partner. Your paycheck is because QT Marshall's not going to be his partner and stand up to anything.
Remember, MJF picked that. for him. It wasn't Cody's choice. That was MJF picking the whatever the hell Q-tip or whatever the hell his name is, whatever he does, picking him as a joke.
Right.
This is just leading to Cody absolutely losing his marbles, probably on MJF, or even somebody before. He may have another match on TV before he wrestles MJF where he just obliterates an opponent, and we're starting to see like a darker side of Cody before he gets to MJF.
And I think the telltale sign is who comes out to help him at the end. Darby Allin comes out and shakes his hand and helps him up. I agree we're leading to a Cody MJF match. MJF is accepted on his own terms. He'll tell us in Jacksonville, not in this Hoboken town of Texas, where they
Garland, Texas.
Yeah, wherever the hell they were.
Yeah, been there, done that. I'm not going back.
He's going to announce in Jacksonville when he's going to fight Cody. It's going to be their next pay-per-view down the line. This is what's going to happen. Cody's going to run through these people. I think he turns on Darby. Darby makes sense with what you just said, John. If we're going to get the darkness out of Cody, why not Darby?
So you think he's going to turn heel? You think
not turn heel, just turn crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do have something to say about the whole heel thing in a minute, and we talked about this off air, but we'll finally wrap it back on on air. Chad's got something to say. He's still.
I think he's going to lose his marbles, like you said, but I think he's going to turn to the dark side. I think him and Darby are going to get beat. I think he's going to turn on and beat the living hell out of them.
If you steal my thunder, I'm going to punch you in the face right now.
I think it's going to be, and Dustin, a.k.a. Goldust, at WrestleCade said there's going to be changes in our personalities. And I think that's where they're going with it.
I'm going to jump in front of you here, Mark. I have a theory, too, that I did not discuss with you. And I wonder if I'm going to steal your thunder here.
If it's what it is, you're done.
Once he gets a little more training, gets a little more solid in the ring, it is a matter of time before Wardlow gets disgusted with MJF. MJF is going to say something. He's going to say the wrong thing, take the wrong tone, smack him, something, and Wardlow is going to tear him apart.
I'm all right with that.
Okay, that's just my prediction for
all right, now that
8 months down the road.
Now that you guys
go ahead, Mark.
Your stick out of the line. I think.
Take your time, Mark.
I think. What is Brandy's cult called?
Oh yeah, where they shave people's heads and stuff.
The Nightmare Collection.
Yeah.
What's Cody's name?
Yeah, the Nightmare. The
American Nightmare.
Yeah.
There's a thing that's going to happen there. I'm not saying tomorrow, for the love of God. At some point, they're going to connect.
At some point, yeah, they're married. There's going to be a story that brings them together at some point. But I think right now they're trying to separate them.
Yeah, but why can't it be Brandy's Babes or anything? Why does it need to be Nightmare? There could have been another word. Nightmare just connects them to instantly. Yeah, is what I'm saying.
It does, but I just hope we don't see a Authority version 2.0.
Oh, God, no.
Of them coming together, and this is how they're going to put the titles on them and their, senior high school buddies, the, young bucks and everything like that. Let's just not have a Authority 2.0.
I can't avoid this. I can't talk about Brandy without saying this. And listeners, if you want to tell us who the handsomest guy wrestler is, feel free. Email us. Get on our social media.
It's cancrusher69@gmail.com.
Cancrusher69@gmail.com. Is there a better looking woman in pro wrestling than Brandy Rhodes? She is flawless. She's a flawless human being.
I'm sorry, but I gotta go. I still Alexa Bliss. Sorry, right. I still gotta roll her.
I love Alicia Tao.
Yeah. Okay.
But then there's Emma, and then there's Sasha, and then I have a harem.
Wow. Holy cow, you love them all.
I do. I am a man whore. Anyway, is anybody going to join the Dark Order? Anybody.
Hopefully somebody that, with this professional film crew that they have, films them getting, like, taken out, hopefully.
Nothing. No.
I just thought it was crazy that there was a camera in the hotel room that captured his point of view. How many times have we seen this in pro wrestling? Like, the snake bites the Ultimate Warrior and the camera starts to pass out. You know?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Or
They need to go for some training with the question mark, because they're just...
I agree.
They're slacking.
I agree.
But that was an interesting... No, it's still... I mean, come on. It's pro wrestling. Of course you're going to have a camera that shows you the point of view of this guy's brain.
Talking to the TV.
It was cool. It was cool.
And mugging people in the, subway and stuff like that, with no cops or anybody else around. But yeah.
Can we... let's go real quick, and I want to talk about, like, break the card up a little bit. There's a lot of maybe disgust or unlike the women's division for AEW. There's a struggle there, don't you think?
I agree, yeah.
I mean, I love Britt. I love Allie. I love Brandy. Well, we've already said this, Mark. But there's people that can, air quote, perform, but there's something it's lacking. What is it? Can we solve AEW's trouble right now?
Easy.
Go ahead.
Get rid of Kenny Olivier. Stop him in his...
Omega. If you don't listen to...
Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Get rid of him in his Japanese anime girl fetish that he has. Get rid of Frank Mercury or Freddie Mercury or whoever it is.
Emi Sakura is her name.
Just get rid of him. He's booking that based on his little fetish, and it's led to what is keeping him out of Japan in the first place.
I love Big Swole. We've seen her at Rise, too. And we saw Little Swole. Right? There's a lot of great independent women's wrestler. If you want to call it the Rise, R-I-S-E, not the Rise that's in Pittsburgh. There's a lot of talent on that Rise that could be sucked up by AEW. And it would compete with WWE's. WWE has the women's division, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So here's what I think the problem is. You guys remember when WCW was kind of falling apart? They were bringing in all of this amazing talent and not giving them much to do. And so that talent was there, but they didn't have necessarily a WCW feel to them or style about them. WWE can bring in somebody from Japan. They bring in a lot of people from Japan, women's wrestlers. At some point, they put a WWE brand on them. And as much as we complain about that, it's important. The women's faction we're seeing in the NWA, they've been brought in from different places. Marty Bell, Thunder Rosa, Melina. But there's an NWA feel to them.
They're all Hispanic.
Well, there's that. But I'm saying there's an NWA sort of feel to what they do. There's not an AEW feel to any of the women. I don't hesitate to say that, to any of the women that are performing there now.
It's just everywhere. What one can do, nobody's meshing. There's no real storylines in that. I agree with what you're saying. I think they need to take the booking away from him, and they need to go that way. They got some awesome talent. Now let's get them working together.
And to your point, Mark, you say Melina's group are all Hispanic. Think about the territory days. Maybe it was politically incorrect, but you had Gentleman Chris Adams.
Today, by the way.
We are. You had Gentleman Chris Adams. So, world-class championship wrestling brings you the greatest wrestlers from all over the world. Well, you have your one English guy. You know what I'm saying? But this sounds stupid, but if another English guy showed up, you might think, that's kind of weird. And not to name names, but when we went to see wrestling on the South Side, there was the IWC Tag Team Champions, or they were anyway.
Main event.
The main event. There was another team.
King's Ransom from OVW.
Yeah, and we're
not naming names.
No, but we're not going to name the person with whom we spoke.
Oh.
This person said, you've got a team with long dreads, and you book another team with really long dreads. So, it's politically incorrect to say you have this stereotype or this nationality or whatever filled, you don't want another one of those. And right now, AEW, I'm not saying they have to have a Latina faction or whatever, but the women's division is kind of all over the place. I don't really know who fits where. And it's still in the early stages. And right now, they're just fighting for fighting's sake and trying to gain some footing for rankings. And that's important, too. But from the story of wrestling that we're used to seeing, there's not an AEW brand on any of the women that are there right now.
All right, let's get to going. We're over an hour.
All right.
AEW in a nutshell, whatever. But I know there's one thing that John really wants to talk about, and it's having Tully Blanchard tied up.
Oh my gosh, that was really, I don't have the word for it. Incredible, unbelievable, and I don't mean
disgusting.
Amazing. I mean, like, they just gave Tully the rope and said, hurry up, get out there! And like, he threw it around himself. When he came back, I said to Mark, I texted him, I said, this looks like one of the pep rallies at Ridgeway High School with the cheerleaders versus the football players putting on skits or something, and the football players have to act like they're tied up. That's what it looked like. I didn't believe for a second Tully was tied to that chair.
He didn't even have it around the chair, though. He literally just wrapped it around himself. When they said Tully leave, he stood up and ran fell off of him, and he left. And I literally stood up there, by the way, too.
The only thing that I've ever seen funnier than what you guys are talking about is when Typhoon goes running trying to break through the wall. Shockmaster, and somebody puts a cord on the bottom, and he busts his ass and falls, and everything. And everything was ruined. You might as well have fired him. Given him his check, say bye, right on air.
Here's your $1.5 million that we were guaranteed.
You're gonna take.
You just ruined. He was gonna be something.
Yeah.
You're gonna take somebody like, and they must have paid him good, either that or he's desperate for a little money. You're gonna take a veteran like that and do something hokey, pokey bullshit like that, and you can't even tie him up properly. At least take duct tape and put it around so he can hop off with the damn chair or something.
And who knows? I mean, maybe he was like in the bathroom and they're like, where the hell's Tully? And he got there at the last second. Who knows? But I'll say this about AEW in a nutshell. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Mark, you said you don't know if you're going to get a train wreck or a dream match or however you put it. You're absolutely right. They can't all be winners.
Oh, they can't.
This was their weakest card.
In 11 weeks.
Yeah, this was their weakest card.
This was their weakest card.
The one thing we
let's just whatever you want to say about it, then we'll wrap it up.
We didn't talk about the Jericho Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
That's what I said. Whatever you want to talk about.
Little segment there. Jericho comes down. They're arguing and everything. It just leads to a big confrontation with Jungle Boy getting a visual 3 count that was counted by Hornswoggle or whatever that little jumping Jack Flash or whatever his name is. It was sad because before that stunt was punching Jericho in the ass cheeks, and that just ruined the whole 3 count thing. But it's setting up for this week. How are they going to work, Jungle Boy with Jericho? Boy, they can go a lot of ways with this and make both of them look good.
It's Dylan's son from 90210.
It is.
Understand, man.
I'm sure your wife told you that. All right, we're not going to take a break. We're going to stay right here, wrap up WWE. A lot of us didn't watch it, and this is what I'm going to tell you about WWE. I promise this is something I'm going to do until WWE picks their shit up. I am not watching WWE live from here on out. I'm not wasting 3 hours on Monday when I'd rather play video games or broadcast a basketball game, nap, spend time with my family, whatever it may be, whatever.
Go to the bathroom, sharpen a pencil,
whatever. I'm not watching it live. And you know what? This week proved it. I sat down Saturday knowing I have something to do, and we'll talk about what I did Saturday night. I want you guys in on it as well. I want to be quiet Saturday night, so I saved my voice, Chad, is where I'm getting to. Saturday morning, woke up, 7 o'clock. Junior went and did papers. Wife went to work. I thought, all right, let's get on this train wreck. 5 hours of WWE programming was watched in an hour and a half.
I believe that.
You didn't miss anything.
No, you didn't.
Nothing. Let's start from Raw right off the bat. I have notes that I wrote. 30 minutes of the divorce thing, literally fast-forwarding.
Yeah.
I'm pissed, and it was still fast-forwarding through this divorce thing.
I texted you when it was going on. You said you didn't watch. But what I can tell you, and I couldn't even tell you what the matches were, but what I remember, and I told you this today again, 2 roughly 90-second matches in the first 40 or 50 minutes. 20 minutes, 25 minutes of divorce court where there was a lawyer there. All they were supposed to do was sign, but they didn't have things figured out. They didn't know who was going to get the dog, whatever. The lawyer, I don't even know why they paid a guy to be in the ring. Just at this point, lie to me and say Lawler passed the bar exam. This guy was just there for no reason.
I mean, Jerry would be an expert in divorces. He's had like 6 of them now.
Exactly. And then, of course, the fight broke out, which you expected. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
So what we took off of, and Chad brought this up, what we took off of Raw was Seth Rollins is with AOP.
And I didn't know that because my son goes to bed at 9:30, and I always say, I'll watch the rest. We'll talk about it when I drive you to school in the morning. He went to bed at 9:30. I'm like, screw this. Turned it off.
Yeah, that was it. Seth Rollins is with the AOP. Yay.
Which you saw coming.
Right, you saw it coming. The last 2 weeks, Charlotte fought the Kabuki Warriors last week. Becky fought them
Very
again
good
this
match.
week.
Very good match.
That's
last week.
why I'm watching. Becky's was great too. And it's setting up for a tag match tonight, which we're not breaking down the pay-per-view if you haven't noticed. It's setting up a pay-per-view match for tonight between them two. And the Kabuki Warriors are great right now. I love what they're doing. And I'm glad they're doing it with Becky and Charlotte. But after tonight, where do we go?
Yeah.
Down the shitter again.
The thing that I haven't liked about it is they're making it like one singles wrestler, although, you know, arguably your top 2 wrestlers in the division and in the company, that one of them can run with your tag team champion.
Oh, they've buried the tag titles.
Yeah, and they just continue to bury him, and they continue to bury Asuka. And it's just, just remember, wins and losses don't count. Well,
that's what I think Asuka's going to get something. I think they lose. All right. I think they lose tonight. Somehow the Kabuki Warriors somehow lose the tag titles because whatever happens on Raw. I think you see Becky against Asuka at Rumble. I don't know. That's just, from that 3 hours and 45 minutes, that's what I got.
Well, very quickly, which week was it where Becky took a swing at Sasha and Sasha... Was that this past Monday?
Maybe.
I believe it was.
No, not Sasha. Sasha wasn't on...
No. Then there was a point where... That might have been SmackDown. I don't even know. Maybe that was the last... Not this past Friday, but the Friday before. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is my wife watches very, very little wrestling. She's by no means a fan. And you listeners maybe can tell me where this was. It was SmackDown, Raw this week, last week. There was a point where Becky Lynch cocked her fist back and Sasha screamed and dropped to the mat. And my wife said, that's not who she is. And that's a great point. I think WWE has lost focus on who their characters are. She's a villainess. She can leave the ring, grab a weapon. Her partner can come in and attack. But she's not going to back down from someone putting their fists up. That was so screwy what they did to her.
It was just like, was it 2 weeks ago with the ongoing divorce, who's making out with who's screwing whose wife thing. The kid on the outside, and this was on, I can't remember where it was posted, because it was everywhere was posting it, but had a kid on the outside standing there with a look on his face like, what in the flying is this? It ain't wrestling. This is Days of Our Lives meets.
It really is.
Roid guys or something.
We've said this before. We've said this for years, probably 30, that wrestling is a soap opera for men, right? Yep. To a point with some great storylines, some wrestling and this, that, and the other. This is just a soap opera anymore. Yeah. It really is. All right, let's over to SmackDown, which took me a half an hour. Why the hell is Otis giving people hams? You didn't watch it.
I didn't watch a minute of it. No, I wasn't home Friday. You tell me why he's handing out hams.
He was going to give Sammy...
What about steaks?
Right! And that's what I mean! Steaks, by the way! So he's giving him a ham instead. Give him...
Well, he's a big hog farmer. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's not going to give him a steak. He's going to give him a...
Maybe they were from his farm. Maybe it's from his own home. Maybe that's why.
It's from the heart.
Yeah.
Why do you got to dig on hams?
He raised that and he's sharing it.
Hams have feelings too.
So Phineas should be pissed off because he probably took one of his
He may have. Yeah.
pigs.
Yeah.
There was nothing on SmackDown that I really want to talk about.
Did Roman Reigns get a elbow
No,
signing or anything like that?
He came out after Kofi was already handcuffed, and the big dog's here! The big dog's gonna play! The big dog!
Can we get rid of him and Corbin? Please, let it die. Just
a miserable death.
Oh my God. Put me in a three-way match with them, and it'd be better than those two together.
All right, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to come back and tell you what I did last night.
In today's English Tip of the Week, we'll discuss the difference between less and fewer. I've recently noticed Mark and many other people misusing less. Less indicates a quantitative amount, a collective amount of something, like less money. Fewer indicates a number of something, like fewer dollars. So, obviously, I am poorer than the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Mark, would I say that I have less dollars than the $1 Million Man, or I have fewer dollars than the $1 Million Man? Keep in mind, less means a number. No, I screwed that up. Fewer means a number of items. Less means a collective amount.
Fewer, then.
I have fewer dollars than the $1 Million Man. That is correct. Now, if I did not have as much money as the $1 Million Man, Chad, would I say I have less money, or I have fewer money than the $1 Million?
Less.
Very good. One other quick example.
I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Let's compare Andre the Giant to Frank Williams. So who's won more matches? Obviously, Andre the Giant went 15 years undefeated. Frank Williams never got in so much as a punch. Andre the Giant has more wins. Would we say that Frank Williams has less wins or fewer wins than Andre the Giant? First one to raise their hand can answer. Mark.
Fewer.
Very good. And with that, class,
You're dismissed.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
and welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen. I had that lesson plan for all of you listeners, and Mark kind of threw me under the bus and said, you got to go right now. So that was off the top of my head, so I apologize for my bit of a blunder. But hopefully, you all learned the difference between less and fewer. I know Chad and Mark learned something today. Maybe the listeners learned something too.
I'll mess it up in the next coming weeks. Don't worry about it. So last night, I got to announce again for Asylum Pro Wrestling, and it's different. You know, I was talking to Crazy Shay, telling him this, that, and the other, and what's going on. And normally we do a great recap. We have you come down, Colin come down, Paul comes out. We just kind of do a recap of what's going on, give us our shtick about the show and everything. And this is where I have to step back and say, for the next couple shows, we can't. I can help promote them, but I can't do the recap. You guys are going to both say why.
I was just thinking that. Why?
Because I'm so involved with what's going on. Like, I know the wins and losses of the matches, but I'm not watching it like we watch it as a wrestling podcast. So this is going to give, sorry Shay, a step back on what you're going to get from Can Crushers. You're going to get promoted, and then you might not, depending on who shows up, if you're going to get a recap. Because if I'm in the ring doing this, doing that, doing other duties, I don't have time to take notes. I can tell you who won, who lost. I have the cards in my pocket. I have all that. But that's not giving justice Can Crusher way. Right?
Fair enough.
We pull fun. We poke Connor. We would call out Dewey now. We would make fun of this person and that person. We would say this is a great match. This is a great match. But without the leader directing traffic, we really don't have anything to talk about. And I'm not being mean. That just, it lessens my time going to Asylum. In the ring's awesome. I love announcing. I love hanging out with the guys backstage. I love talking to Shay, Laura. I don't name everybody on the card, but you got to know that you're not going to get the podcast the way that we do the podcast if I'm in the ring.
Yeah, because if you're there to work, then you can't really.
I work. I'm going to give you my time there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not taking it for myself.
Which that had to be pretty awesome.
It is great.
You've
let me
now
tell
had
you.
2 opportunities to be a wrestling ring announcer, Mark. That's pretty incredible.
It is. It's incredible. Let me step back now and take in that experience. It's wonderful. The first time I was followed by this jackass from Marvelous Enterprises. It made the night a little rough because he was out on matches that he shouldn't have been, this, that, and the other. Last night I was solo. I was completely solo and talked to the wife. The wife, I did great. Oh, that's awesome. Whatever. I wanted somebody to say, you know what? Shay said, my energy kicks up after intermission. And I don't know what it is, if it's because of the Red Bull that I drink at intermission or whatever, but I'm getting more and more comfortable. It's always fun. I do love doing it, but on the same aspect, this is my baby, and I'm just going to say, you're just not going to get what you get for the first year from Can Crushers.
Yeah.
Because when I'm working for you, I can't work for myself.
That's a fair point. You can't watch it the same way. You're maybe not even sitting there the entire time. I know when I went and you announced, you weren't necessarily sitting behind me the entire time, so you may have missed a cool move or whatever else.
Right.
Yeah.
Your experience.
Yeah, my
it's just
experience isn't the same.
It's just a whole new thing. Going from, okay, ring announcer, you're doing this. You're not watching for this spot. You're not watching for that spot. You're getting ready for the next whatever's coming down the road. And after that, you're trying to go 2 or 3 steps ahead versus taking in the moment as it happens.
Right. And I just want you to know that. I've always said we're going to be transparent. So throwing this out there, just saying, the next couple Asylum events, this is what you're going to get. Just because. But let's wrap up this show because we're getting close to the time, and I've got some editing to do. People have to get on the road, and I understand that. So, who's watching TLC tonight? I am not.
I would love to watch actually the Steelers and Bills game. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I don't know. I'm such a chump for my little boy. It's what he wants to watch. If he wants to watch wrestling, we'll watch that. If he wants to watch the Steelers, we'll watch that.
Probably not. I'll put it this way. I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it. Again, I'm not going to watch it live. I'll put it that way. If I watch it, it'll be 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. The little guy likes watching people get hit with stuff. And
this is a great one. This is the best one.
Being as he's going into, he said, Dad, I said, I'm going to start wrestling this coming week. He said, I need to watch TLC tonight. I just shook my head. He's 5, people, and he wants to be a pro wrestler already.
So, JOs, right? It is novice or whatever.
Novice.
Yeah. So those mats are on the floor. Where the hell does he think he's going to get a chair from?
Probably the same place he does at home. He goes out in the kitchen and pulls it out of the kitchen or something like that. Or if he's upstairs, he just jumps from bed to bed.
So cafeteria. He's going to be running to a high school cafeteria, getting one of those hard plastic ones that don't fold and just running back into the gymnasium.
He can do like he does sometimes and gets up on my shoulder, climbs up my back, gets up on my shoulder and jumps off. The kiddo, he's got this. Yeah,
he's definitely more nimble than you. So I know
that's not saying much though.
He can drag kids onto the bleachers and fight there.
You threw me off. Let's tell this. You threw me off the bleachers that ripped my knee out for months.
You still have trouble.
That's a good friend that'll do that. He just didn't, screw around storyline, rip his knee up, and took it out.
He legit did. Yeah. Legit. Freshman, sophomore, I don't remember.
No, middle school, like 8th grade.
Okay, we had to have a scaffold match.
Yeah.
And you threw me off the bleachers, and I did not. This is the bleachers that used to fold in, folks. Like they don't. I don't think they even make those. You can't fold them in anymore, whatever. Folded them in. We're jackasses. We climbed to the bleachers. Our gym coach is there, but nowhere caring about us. We're fighting on top of it. John, let's try the spot. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I pushed him and he flew down the bleachers. Tried to keep his balance, which is maybe the worst thing he could have done.
Yeah, I should have hit my head.
Yep, I've been better off.
I'm thinking it was probably like Wile E. Coyote going off a cliff, like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and then he just lets go and falls.
Definitely. All right, guys, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. It's at CanCrusher69. We've said the email a couple times. Damn it, I do that every week. It's CanCrusher69@gmail.com. Head over to the website. It's cancrusher69.wixsite.com/cancrushers. We want to thank our sponsors, Collar and Elbow. Again, I'm consistently wearing a shirt from them anymore. I have many, and I love them. This is by far my favorite one. I look good in purple.
Yeah, that's a pretty dope Macho Man shirt.
With Al Snow and Head in it, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What else? Well, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all everywhere. You can find us anywhere anymore, and that's about it. We don't have anything planned in January yet. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit. We have nothing planned to go anywhere in January yet. We don't know what's going on, and next week's show is not going to be a recap. Hello, folks. We just told you that. Next week's show, we're going to do a year in review. I will be recording segments with each one of these guys talking about Wrestler of the Year, Female Wrestler of the Year, Match of the Year, that shtick. They'll get their notes later on this week, and we're going to have an end-of-the-year recap of matches that you've watched. I don't want you to say it's because Meltzer said this match. I want the English professor's favorite match of the year. I want Gary Ganooz's favorite match of the year. So all segments are thrown away next week. We're going to have as many Can Crusher alum come back on the show and talk about match of the year with me, and then you'll hear what we all think.
All right, so we have homework.
You goddamn well.
Whenever the teacher decides to give it to us.
It'll be after the show. I wanted to see what you guys were going to say.
Well, if we're going to have Matt, we got to have bad moments of the year or worst moments of the year.
Yeah, everybody's going to get about
a list. Yeah,
everybody's going to be about 20 minutes, and we're going to break it down, and then you'll hear mine throughout with you or with him or with your, we'll just talk about, and you'll get all our thoughts. Nobody gets an award because we don't have shit to give away, but you'll hear what we think were match, women, men, pay-per-views, events that we've gone to. You'll get the list.
All right.
The list.
The lexicon.
The lexicon.
The lexicon. So.
Is there going to be a little bit of a bubbly?
You haven't had bubbly in a while.
Okay. Maybe I could bring that for that.
There you go. You'll be in studio. You will not be.
I don't know. We'll see.
So, we'll figure it out.
All right.
All right. Just remember.
Just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hi, this is Tony Atlas, WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, and I'm giving a shout out to Can Crusher.